Welcome to the monthly Q&A, a series where I give you an opportunity to be able to ask me whatever questions you might have about the world of professional wrestling, life, hobbies, whatever. Apologies ahead of time if I look like crap and sound like crap. That's because I feel like crap because I'm sick. But just because I'm sick, it doesn't stop the daily videos, baby. This machine keeps pushing forward. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's jump into it. This first one comes from WWE superstar Dijak, who says, how long will it take you to fully digest this massive ratio? Everywhere that I go, everywhere that I look, Dijak is there ready to ratio me. It's getting to the point where I don't know where to go or what to do or who to call to help me. I think I'm in danger. Let me give you a little bit of backstory here because Dijak does this thing on social media where he ratios people. And a ratio is when you reply to a post and your reply to the original post actually gets more likes than the original post. It's the social media equivalent of dunking on somebody. And Dijak has been ratioing people left, right, and center for the better part of like 6 months. And I've been untouched and unscathed throughout that time. Except for the last 3 days, I've been getting ratioed and ratioed and ratioed. I'm even getting ratioed in a Q&A, for God's sakes. But it all started on the most recent episode of Monday Night Raw where Dijak wasn't on TV and I tweeted out, no Dijak, I'm sad Jack. Which I thought, you know, it's a cute little tweet. I like Dijak, I want to see Dijak, to which he replies, Ratio Jack. I then realized that I actually misspelled Dijak in the original tweet, so then I edited the tweet, which actually removes all the replies, so it actually removed Dijak's ratio, which I was like, okay, cool. No one will see that he ratioed me, except he replied again with, Ratio Jack again, Jack. I then paid $100 on Cameo for Dijak to apologize to me for these back-to-back ratios that have been ruining my life. And instead of apologizing, this is what he sent.
All right, Santi, you son of a bitch. You want an apology from me? I'm not going to apologize. Not only am I not going to apologize, I'm going to ratio again. You're getting a video ratio. How do you feel about that? I just ratioed you via video.
So not only did he scam me, because that's not what I paid for, Dijak, he ratioed me again through a different medium, this time video. I then tweeted, can someone confirm what time is it? I was just trying to bait people to being like, it's clobbering time or it's Tiffy time. You know, just some simple engagement baiting on Twitter. To which Dijak replies, it's ratio time. And I'm at my wit's end and I reply, leave me alone, Dijak. Which brings us to today, Dijak asking me how long will it take to fully digest this massive ratio. Well, Dijak, at this point with how many times you've ratioed me, maybe it might take a really long time. It might take about as long as it's taken you to win a championship in the WWE. So what are we at, like year 5? So yeah, maybe like 7 years it's gonna take for this ratio to fully digest. Do you think there will ever be a WrestleMania Overseas? I think it all really depends on the dollars and the cents because it is significantly more expensive to run a show outside of the United States because of travel, because of logging things around, all of the production equipment, etc. But if a big city like London could pool together enough money to offset those losses, then maybe the WWE would be more inclined to do a major show like WrestleMania Overseas. We know that this is now becoming part of the norm with these municipalities just pooling money together to get these big shows in their cities. And we've heard that the mayor of London is ready to play some ball and is probably gonna have to pay the Pied Piper to bring a show like WrestleMania over. Again, it's all about the money. So until the money makes sense, until a government says we are gonna make WrestleMania worth it if we pay you X amount of dollars, it's probably not gonna happen. They're probably gonna stay in the United States. If you weren't a content creator right now, what would you be doing? So I'm 31 years old and I became a full-time content creator at 30, which means that I had a lot of time as an adult to actually get a career going. And I had a full career in the tech industry working as a senior account executive. So if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably just be continuing down that corporate path. I think the end goal for somebody like Asante, it would have been to be a VP of sales for a tech company. That's the path that I was on, and maybe at some point I'll have to return to that path because you never know with social media, it could end just like that. But right now, I'm just happy to be on this journey and I'm excited every single day to wake up, work, make videos, live stream, etc. This job has afforded me the rare opportunity to wake up every single day and be passionate and love the thing that I'm about to do, as opposed to just doing doing the thing because I need to do it to survive. How do you feel about the current state of the internet wrestling community? For me, as someone that's joined recently, I felt safer at the beginning. These last few weeks have been brutal. Oh, they're gonna continue to be brutal. It doesn't get better here. It's always this bad. If you joined and it wasn't that bad, that was just a time of prosperity. It's usually just always a time of chaos. For every one good, peaceful month in the internet wrestling community, there's 11 terrible toxic months that follow it. That being said, I'm part of the internet wrestling community and I feel like I found a way to interact with the greater wrestling community without, adding to the toxicity of things. I used to get in fights with stan accounts on Twitter, and now at this point, I just don't think that it's worth it. I think I've come to realize that these stan accounts, they still like the same thing that I do. They just like to show it in a different way. So I think it's a little bit maybe rude of me to call them weird and parasocial parasites. So I'm done with that. Instead, I'm gonna try and live harmoniously with all the stan accounts and just, shake hands and sing Kumbaya and try to make the best out of being part of this super toxic internet wrestling community. How long have you been watching wrestling for? Started watching wrestling in 2002, early 2002. I watched all the way through to about 2007, took a break into 2011, came back, and I've been watching wrestling ever since. However, I did catch up on everything that I've missed, and I am somebody that's gone back and watched the stuff that happened before I started watching wrestling. But in terms of week-to-week basis, 2002. What are your opinions on CM Punk being a wrestler? Should he be a part-timer? Should he be a manager for somebody? I don't think he should be a manager or a part-timer. If CM Punk can be a full-time performer, he absolutely should be a full-time performer. He's the best in the world. I mean, I know that's his moniker, but I think CM Punk is absolutely fantastic. I know that there's a lot of doubters and naysayers because of how often he gets injured. It is a rough stretch right now, admittedly, for CM Punk. But when he's healthy, when he's going, he is fantastic, and very few people are as good as CM Punk. However, when CM Punk decides to hang up the boots, I think it would be a treat for wrestling fans for him to be a manager. Jesus Christ, like whoever gets to be managed by CM Punk, you are so lucky. I think CM Punk is fantastic, and I think that he gets just overall just too much criticism because I guess he kind of baits a lot of this criticism, to be fair. When you first got into wrestling, how did you feel? When was the moment that made you say, yep, I'm a fan? I was in awe when I first found professional wrestling. I thought it was all real. I thought these guys were genuinely hitting each other over the head with chairs. I thought people were genuinely slamming each other, punching each other. I was just mesmerized by what I was watching. I immediately fell in love with the physical aspect of professional wrestling and also immediately fell in love with the drama and storylines as a kid. But the moment that made me say, yeah, I'm a fan, I'm here forever, was the Shawn Michaels and Triple H feud leading to SummerSlam 2002. I still think it's like one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. So much so that it was the first pay-per-view that I ever got to watch live. Considering Jey Uso's limited moveset, who do you think should be a top babyface on Raw? I know that right now that's the biggest criticism of Jey Uso amongst wrestling fans, that he's got a very limited moveset, but I'm going to tell you right now that there's no other better option than Jey Uso as a top babyface. The fact of the matter is that Raw needs Jey Uso right now to step up and be that top babyface because their other two top babyfaces in Seth Rollins and CM Punk can't be part of the main event scene. It is a situation almost by default, but we have to, even those that criticize Jey Uso recognize the fact that this guy is hella freaking over and has an undeniable connection with the fans. And you can have a career, a great career with a limited moveset. Just look at my favorite WWE superstar of all time, John Cena. I think that the criticism that we hear online about Jey Uso's limited moveset is just an online criticism. I don't think that the casual viewer, which is what lines the pockets of WWE corporate, is having the same complaint. I think the majority of fans love what they see in Jey Uso. But us wrestling nerds, the marks that are online, that are always, complaining about everything, we're the ones that notice these things. We're the ones that hyperfixate on these things when at the end of the day, we're just a really, really vocal minority. But I think it should be Jey Uso. I really think that there's no better option. Who do you think Cena's last opponent should be? I'm between two people, but my favorite option is Randy Orton. I mean, their careers are just so parallel. It's too perfect. They've been fighting forever. It should be those two to do a Triple H and Undertaker style end of an era match. If not Randy Orton, then I think a good second option would be CM Punk.
Whoa!
Whoa! Whoa! Look at this.
See?
Yo!
And that's deadly. Oh, I forgot about this.
Oh, that was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, which is available exclusively on Patreon. Over on the Patreon, not only will you get the newest episode of Wrestling is Cool 3 days earlier than everyone else, but you're going to get the Raw review, SmackDown review, NXT review, and you're also going to get 5 weekly episodes of the Wrestling is Cool Match Club, which is a series where people on Patreon vote on which matches we watch and commentate on. This week, we're looking at Drew McIntyre versus Will Ospreay from WCPW, Triple H versus The Rock in a ladder match in SummerSlam 1998. We're looking at Zila and Jacob Fatu taking on Bang and Matthews in GCW. We're also looking at Cesaro versus Sami Zayn all the way back in NXT in 2013, and Rey Mysterio versus Prince Puma, aka Ricochet in Lucha Underground. You can find all this over on patreon.com/SantiZap. You'll find it in the top link in the description or the link in the pinned comment. Over 2,000 of you are already supporting on Patreon, so thank you so much for this crazy stretch. We really appreciate your support, and back to the video. What is your favorite current WWE faction? I am still gonna go with the Bloodline, even though they're in this weird, I don't know, grungy teenage phase with Solo Sikoa trying to create a different style of Bloodline that's a bit more vicious. But I love what's going on with Paul Heyman, the overlooming presence of The Rock and the overlooming presence of Roman Reigns, who isn't around. It almost feels like there's two camps trying to prophesize the word of the tribal chief without the tribal chief actually being around. So I can't wait to see the tribal chief actually return. Do you see Seth Rollins versus CM Punk main eventing night 1 of WrestleMania? Yes, I absolutely do. Honestly, the only way that it doesn't main event night 1 of WrestleMania is if there's a perfect storm, kind of like WrestleMania 40, that warrants something else to be in the night 1 main event, like The Rock and Roman Reigns in a tag team match. But I don't think that that's going to be the case every single WrestleMania. So I do think that when we get to WrestleMania 41, I don't think that they're going to do another double-header style of main events for night 1 and night 2. I think that you can do a singular night 1 main event, a singular night 2 main event, and that singular night 1 main event could be and should be Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. What do you think are the odds of WWE buying AEW? Honestly, probably 0. The cons have more money than God, and I don't see a world where they need to sell AEW or would want to sell AEW. Do you think the women should have a mid-card belt that appears on both shows, a mid-card belt for each show, a mid-card belt for Raw, or no mid-card belt at all? I mean, there's a lot of questions there. I'm just gonna go with, should there be a mid-card belt for the women? Yes, absolutely there should be. If it were my preference, it would be one mid-card belt in the main roster that floats across Raw and SmackDown. I think that they're using the women's North American title belt maybe as a pilot to see how this would work and how they could book a women's mid-card. So don't be surprised if before the end of the year, we have a main roster mid-card belt for the women. When do you think Brock Lesnar will return? I'm of the mind that probably never. Brock Lesnar has made a shit ton of money across everything that he's done in his career. The man doesn't like having media presence, and if he were to return to the WWE, there would be so much of a spotlight on Brock Lesnar that I don't think he probably sees it as worth it. I think the man is just gonna go into his ranch in Saskatchewan and never be seen ever again. What are your thoughts on Damen Priest's recent championship run so far? I think it is still way too early to cast judgment on Damen Priest's championship run so far, but I will say that the World Heavyweight Championship does feel less special without Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Drew McIntyre being part of the picture. It just doesn't feel like it's shark-infested waters like it was when we were gearing up for WrestleMania 40. But that's not Damen Priest's fault at the end of the day. However, I will say that I feel like he's finally flourishing. That promo that he had with Drew McIntyre was his best promo, not just of his championship run, but of his career. He finally felt like a champion, and I think that there is a lot of room to grow, and the ceiling is quite high for Damen Priest. What is the greatest wrestling finisher of all time? Dude, you know what it is. Obviously, you baited me for this answer because your picture is Randy Orton on Twitter. It's the RKO. I just think that it's the undeniable answer here. What moments made you want to come back to watch WWE again? Well, from my hiatus, the only thing that made me return to WWE was the announcement that The Rock was coming back to the WWE to be the host of WrestleMania 27. And I'm sure that a lot of people that have fallen off of wrestling probably are going through the same thing that I went through back in 2011, because a lot of people probably came back to wrestling when The Rock came back in this lead up to WrestleMania 40. So that just shows you the power of somebody like The Rock. I mean, he is one of the most famous human beings on the planet. Can you yeet for us? No yeet. Why are PLE ticket prices so expensive? Business and capitalism, baby. But yeah, no, things are getting out of hand with these ticket prices. SummerSlam nosebleed, like the worst of the worst tickets being $400 US. Are you kidding me? Are you insane? Who is gonna pay that? And the question is, people will pay that because the product is just so incredibly hot right now. It's the best ticket in town. The WWE is as popular as it's ever been. They're gonna take advantage of this, and they're gonna take advantage by going into your wallet. What is a match that was unexpectedly amazing? I always harken back to Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg at WrestleMania 34 because we have evidence that it was gonna be dog shit like WrestleMania 20, and it was two guys that can't go for more than 5 minutes typically. And I was right, they didn't go for more than 5 minutes, but it was like the most chaotic 5 minutes ever. I love that match. It's also a match that I just had zero expectations for. In fact, my expectations were for it to be astronomically bad, and I thought it was a really, really fun 5-minute car crash. All right, folks, that's it for this month's Q&A. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. That's it. I'm done. Get out of here.